country.
Can this diagnose me for HIV?
You're already positive for that. You don't need a diagnosis.
Oh my
If it's a
God.
question, I think that's already the answer. The Barbenheimer, 337 for Barbie, 174 Oppenheimer. Total of...
I swear to God, this Oppenheimer thing, I'm going to fucking strangle the life out of the next person that says Oppenheimer. For fuck's sake, it's OPP. It's OP. There's no OP. If it was OP, it'd be OP. It's not. It's OPP.
They addressed that. They addressed that
in the English language. It's
Remember,
OP.
they addressed it in the movie. He's like,
Say it for the people in the back.
Oppen.
You down with OPP?
Yeah, you know me.
Great reference, Monica. Great reference.
Oh, you got it. Okay, someone has to say that because we're all down with the OPP, I guess. Yeah.
Disclaimer. What you're about to watch contains mostly spoilers early and often. As you'll see, it get quite contentious early on. Christopher Nolan returns to the big screen in the biggest of ways in what is a grounded movie compared to his other more fantastical adventures, a documentary-style movie on the life of the father of the atom bomb, J. Robert Oppenheimer. This is Last Page. Thank you for joining us and welcome to this issue number 17 of Last Page. I am your humble host, Maverick King, joined today by the magnificent Monica Bryant, and across the seas of the internet, the rambunctious Remington King, and the jovial Jason Cedars.
I was wondering what my adjective was going to be. I was like, what's my adjective? Jovial, I'll take it. Sorry.
We just got out of the movies. Jason and across the seas of the internet, Jason just got out of the movies, out of Oppenheimer. The two of us just got out of the movies less than an hour ago. So this movie is extremely fresh. Remy saw this movie a few days ago, so he has had time to ruminate on this 3-hour dissection of the most critical point in Robert Oppenheimer's life. And I'm very curious what everyone's thoughts are. We haven't even discussed this movie at all. So this is a mystery to all of us. I will go off the IMDb opening weekend for this movie, which is pretty crazy. $82.4 million for a rated R movie. Blew away Mission Impossible, which sadly has been trampled underfoot. People have not been giving Tom his due respect. But needless to say, this movie, it is... well, actually, I just basically said what IMDb said. The story of American scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in the development of the atom bomb. Remington did this movie. It has gotten amazing critical reception. Audience scores have been very high. The second half of the Barbenheimer experiment. Did you like Oppenheimer?
Absolutely. When I got out of it, I initially had just had mixed feelings. Like, not in a, I didn't like this movie, just in a, I'm not sure how this movie made me feel. And I feel like that kind of resonated through the audience. And I was kind of curious what your guys' experience was. When I got out of the movie theater, it was a packed theater, but it was essentially dead silent walking out of the theater. It was very quiet. Normally, there's a hustle and bustle over big movies. People are talking. When I got out of Barbie, it was a lot of talking. This movie, I got out and it was very quiet. And I think we have just kind of everybody felt like I was on the same page, or it was just kind of like, what did we like? Not necessarily a what did we learn here, but because I feel like we kind of already know what we were going to learn coming out of this movie. But yeah, as a total package, I really, really like this movie. I really appreciate a lot of the things that it does. I think it does a lot of things really well. And I am excited to get into it. I'll just give that my initial thought.
To me? So thoroughly enjoyed it. It's definitely a different movie experience. It is something where I went in being like, okay, I'm about to pretty much watch a documentary, and it's like you kind of go in there like this is going to information overload. Is this going to be an adventure? Is it going to have like this arc? Is it going to be something that I'm going to enjoy? And actually I did. I really, really did. And it was so surprisingly I already knew it was going to be good, but surprisingly good of how well it was a story. You know, it wasn't just this information overload on a subject that I thought I already knew pretty much everything kind of there is to know of something, you know, that happened almost 80 years ago that we would have thought from school and all the other documentaries and movies that we've seen in the past. But this was a whole nother angle. This is so cool. This is such a great way to tell the story, and Christopher Nolan's storytelling is absolutely perfect for this, where it's these crazy visuals in the beginning, you know, that kind of get you in this really good mood of an epic story that has lots of great places and colors and vivid scenes and great music. It was just, Nolan was the perfect person to tell this, and then just with a cast to really flesh out so many of these characters, I felt like it like hit all those the points and boxes that I'm looking for in a very serious movie like this to be told this way. So yeah, I really enjoyed the 3-hour ride, which didn't really feel like a 3-hour ride. Now, I did get up at an hour and a half in and went and got popcorn and a hot dog in the middle of the movie because I
planned that out. You can't do that.
I planned it out. I was like, I went in, I'm like, okay, about halfway through the movie, I'll go have my own intermission because it's a 3-hour movie, and then I'll come back.
You probably didn't even see Hitler's cameo, did you?
Oh, was that during the Christmas? So you can say something like that in the 5 minutes that I was gone. Like, what? Really?
The part where Oppenheimer goes in and it kills Hitler? You missed that?
Inglorious Bastard style? You didn't say that? Yeah. But yeah, even though how long it was, it didn't really feel like that long of a ride. So, but yeah, I can't wait to say a lot of positive things about this.
It was definitely it wasn't what I expected, because I was worried it was going to be like long and boring, but it wasn't, and it actually made me feel really sad. Like, obviously you already feel bad for, like, you know, all the people who died at Pearl Harbor, and you feel bad for all the people who died in Japan. But then, like, I was like feeling bad for Oppenheimer too. And then, like, he's carrying this weight of like what he's done in this. I think I was just sitting with that at the end of the movie, and just kind of walked out with like a heaviness of like, yeah, like all these people's lives were altered, and he was so busy rushing toward this goal that he didn't really stop to think if he should be doing it. So just taking that with me out of the theater, I think is pretty much how I felt.
It's 3 hours. I did feel the runtime for the first half of the movie. Just very Nolanisms of the constant intense music that's carrying throughout all these the dialogue heavy scenes. And the movie does, when it starts, it bounces around times. And it's one thing I wish we complain a lot about movies that beat you over the head with just, here's them just explaining what you're watching. But I would have liked to have gotten, at least at the very beginning, a date of like, when it's black and white, this is the date. Yeah. When it's in color, this is the date, just so I could have a mental picture of this is pre-World War II, or this is the beginning of World War II, and this is after. There was that took a minute for me to just kind of be like, all right, the black and white scenes are after, but obviously the cast is all great. Cillian Murphy is incredible, really incredible. I mean, his Oppenheimer voice, sometimes it broke into the Cillian Murphy just kind of American voice, but most of the time his Oppenheimer voice, he was just very transformative and never overacts, never just tries to go for it. There was a scene where I felt like Robert Downey Jr. gave it his Oscar push, which he's great, but there was he did try his best to kind of keep his Robert Downey Jr.isms. He talked about this in interviews, how Christopher Nolan worked with him to not be the kind of, very animated guy, and he, for the most part, is pretty buttoned up, but there were some moments where he really kind of goes for it. But he's awesome in the movie as well. So many casts. I mean, there's people that I was just like, what the hell? What is he doing here?
Yeah, I love that.
So overall, I would say I really enjoyed the second half of the movie. It's a movie I have to see again, because it just for for that first half where it's just kind of figuring out who Oppenheimer is, who all of his colleagues are, the associates, people in the government that are working with him. It was just a lot of scenes that just kind of bounced, and it was hard to try to get a cohesive, like, this is where it's, where it's going as far as the bomb goes, but the story it's telling is beyond the bomb, and it's very obvious early on that that's the case. So yes, I like the movie. I need to watch it again to know how much I like it, but we'll slowly unravel into it. Remy, Cillian Murphy, I know we've both shared an appreciation for his talents for a long time. This was the first time that he has been the center stage of a big Hollywood movie. What were your thoughts on his performance?
About damn time.
Yeah.
The man is a top tier quality actor. I don't think he's ever dragged his feet in any project he's been a part of. I've watched the first season of Peaky Blinders like 3 times in an attempt to get going on that show, and I just can't. I just fucking can't. Not because of him, but just because the pacing of this show is so slow. It's molasses slow. And so, but he is so good in that. He's so good as Scarecrow. Obviously, also great. He's also great in Inception. So I think it's long overdue that he got a center stage sort of role, and the man hits it out of the park. 500-foot home run, just so consistent through the movie. Like you said, doesn't have any moments where he oversteps. He's so perfectly in character at all times, and yes, the overall. I mean, I think he carries the movie. I mean, the man it's one of those movies where he's in every single scene, I think.
Just about, other than the scenes with Robert Downey Jr. Has scenes, the black and white scenes with him and Taron Egerton or whatever his name is.
That's not who that
Josh.
is.
It's Alden Einrich or Enrich.
It's young Han Solo. It's not Taron Egerton.
It's Alden
Enrich.
Come on, those are the same dude.
Enrich.
They're the same guy.
He's from Beautiful Creatures.
So, yes, that's what I know.
Not from Sing.
Taron Egerton.
Mm-hmm. He did not play Elton John.
Oh. He was Elton John's gay lover.
Anyway, so yes, Cillian, definitely not that the words Oscar-worthy performance really mean anything these days, but in my opinion, Oscar-worthy performance. It's like I want to go through the list of everybody that's in this movie, but it would take a long time. So Robert Downey, also great, does, yes, as you said, very good job of not being his typical self, and I think it's one of his better performances in that regard. I mean, I didn't see Dr. Dolittle, and maybe he's amazing in that, but I feel like this is a really good non Tony Stark role for him. Mm-hmm. But shout out to Gary Oldman.
Yes. Yes.
You're jumping ahead.
What? We're talking about the cast.
No. Okay.
You talked about Robert Downey Jr. and Cillian Murphy, and you mentioned. Stop. What?
There's so many people in this movie, but a lot of it is because you don't know who's in the movie. There's a lot of actors like Gary Oldman that show up that's like, oh, they're there. That's a part of the spoiler section. We'll get to the spoiler people.
Dude,
I thought we were past spoilers.
I thought we were past spoilers too. Your spoilers take too long.
Initial review. Now it's full spoilers.
We're not talking to spoilers. We will go through the cast list.
Oh my god!
And everyone can pick their favorite other people, and we'll go through that. But you don't need to jump to the fucking guy in the last part of the movie. So we'll get to Gary Oldman. But go ahead.
I am officially protesting this fucking spoiler-free section because this is the shit I'm talking about. I just want to fucking. It's just this undefined thing. Okay,
you're jumping to the end of the movie.
It's
not necessary right now.
Are we going in chronological order?
It's just we can talk about the main guy of the movie before we talk about all of the ins and outs of the rest of the cast.
We can talk about some of the cast, but not all the cast. Okay, I got it.
Yes, Jason, your thoughts on Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., the two main leads. There's a lot of people in this movie, which we'll get to, but those are the two ones that have been advertised the most. So your thoughts on both of their
I
performances?
do feel like they were the two sides of the same coin as far as
Oh my god, Jason!
That's a
Oh my
shoehorn.
god!
That's terrible.
as far as the
terrible.
two
You should be ashamed of
protagonists.
yourself.
Or no, I guess there's a protagonist, antagonist. I mean, if you want to say there's
No, okay.
a villain in this movie, I mean,
Jesus fucking Christ! Like, guys,
Are you gonna say that's a fucking spoiler?
that is
Saying they're
literally
the fucking protagonist and antagonist of the film? That's a spoiler? They're the main two characters.
At what point in the movie is it revealed that Robert Downey Jr. is the antagonist of the movie? Is that in the first half of the movie?
You know, even,
I guess it's a little blur
that's not even like a
to
reveal.
happen, yeah. But you start
It is a reveal. How is this not a reveal? Okay, you know what? Full-blown spoilers, because I am dealing with people that have no idea how structure works. Did you not watch this? Did we not watch the same movie? We're just going to be bouncing around all the time. The movie is literally set up where you have the idea that Robert Downey Jr. is a friend, a nice helper to Oppenheimer, that both of them have worked together for a while. And it is not until literally the last act, and that's part of this movie. Part of this movie is Christopher Nolan has set it up, and because he's the solo writer adapter. It is adapted from a book, American Prometheus, which is two authors. He is the solo screenplay writer, and the way that this movie is set up, that he does his little Nolanism tricks, where he doesn't give you all the information. He leaves key information from the scene out. The scene that is prevalent throughout the movie is Oppenheimer talking to Einstein, and that kind of gets more expanded as we go. But it is not revealed until later in the movie that Robert Downey Jr. is the antagonist of this movie. Am I wrong?
yes, I mean, I guess you're right to a degree, but I mean, it was a little bit more midway that you start to get hints of what's going on throughout it. But they do flesh it out, yeah, towards the end. So I mean, yeah, I guess you're both right. That it was very.
No, we're not both right. I am right, and he
Except
is wrong.
the fact that Cillian obviously doesn't like him from the start. Their first interaction, Cillian's a dick to him. So no, they don't have some friendship from the beginning.
They are well, that's most of these people are like they are co-workers or whatever you call them, associates, that they all mingle together. They all have different ideals. They all have different motivations. Ms. Bryant, weigh in on this nonsense, since I was trying to have something, because this movie came out less than a week ago. I was trying to give the audience that haven't seen the movie some little things of like, oh, here's like the main characters, and here's the basic plot of the movie, and we liked it or don't we like it, and then we can talk about the 90 A-listers that are in this movie, and we can talk about all the spoilers in this movie. But no, I am working with a bunch of prima donnas, and I can't deal with this, babe. I can't. So, Ms. Bryant, weigh in on all this nonsense. What did you think of everything we just talked about?
Well, I first saw Cillian Murphy in 28 Days Later. It was the first movie I'd ever seen him in. And I mean, he basically carries that entire movie. And it's like a small little indie film, And I loved him since then in everything. Like even his like part in Time, because he's in that movie as like the antagonist character. But he's just great in everything I've ever seen him in. I've never seen him give a bad performance. So when I found out that he was, top billing in this movie, I was like, well, Cillian is gonna kill it, because that's what he does.
There.
With Robert Downey Jr., when I first saw him, I didn't realize it was him, because he's almost wearing like a disguise in the film, and it took my brain like a few minutes to realize, oh, that's Robert Downey Jr. I didn't know he was in this movie. There were moments when I thought his Tony Stark was coming out, but then he would like reel it back in. But other than that, I also thought he did a really fantastic job portraying the character, and by the end of the movie, I hated him. So he did his job.
There's so many actors like that where it's like, wait, who is that and where was he from? And then after they talk for a little while, like, now I remember. But yeah, there's so many of them and which is great about so many actors that are famous. They kind of sometimes pull their old roles into it, but it's like a lot of them did a really good job of bringing something like fresh to the table kind of feel. Yeah, good point.
Yes, we universally recommend this movie.
Yes, we have. I've already established we were already into spoilers. I don't know.
I didn't actually say who Gary Oldman played yet. You cut me off before I could say that.
Well, the fact that he's even in this movie, like this movie became the.
He's listed.
I guess that is a benefit and a detractor for me of this movie is that there's, like they said, there's 1,000 people that you know, and there's some people, like you said, Jason, some people that you're like, it takes a minute and you're like, who is that? But that's the thing is that in that first half of the movie where it's bouncing around so much of Robert Downey Jr. meeting with people that are communist sympathizers, or not Robert Downey Jr., Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, is mingling with communist circles, and that's a big part of the movie. Is Oppenheimer later he is basically put on a form of trial, not a criminal trial, but one for his ability to work on projects for the government. Is his associations with the Communist Party, and that is constantly being brought back up. And I felt like it's weird when there's just someone comes on screen for like 2 minutes, and you're like, oh, that's a famous actor, and then they're gone, and it's like hard to remember. All right, who is that guy playing, and who's this person? And really, kind of the people that stick out more in my mind are the people I don't know. I'm like, oh yeah, the guys with German accents that are scientists, like those are kind of people that stick out. That I didn't know who they were as an actor. Did you guys feel similar ways? Did you feel?
I was hoping the whole movie they did something like in documentaries where it does the name on the bottom left corner and who they are, and just had like little reminders of who each character was.
And that's the thing is that I'm always complaining that they're always just feeding you like this is saying exactly what's happening. Too much exposition, and I'm always complaining about that, but. It is like the fact there's no dates, there's no names. There is a level of like that's why the second viewing I think is extremely warranted because I think a second viewing would be much easier to get going out of the gate as opposed to trying to remember who's a communist, who's a fascist, who's who, that kind of thing. Did you have that sense, Brian?
A little bit. Characters coming in and out it was like a whirlwind, and the people I was recognizing. It was almost distracting me from the movie because then I was like, oh, wait, what's he from? That's that guy from that one show. And David Krumholtz was giving me like Dennis Nedry vibes from Jurassic Park. And so it was like really distracting because like I've seen him in 10 Things I Hate About You with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
See, I didn't know who that was. I just knew that it was like, that's not Alfred Molina.
Yeah, but he was giving me like the Dennis Nedry thing, and I was like, wait a second, and it was really distracting, but it was cool to see him in a movie because I don't see him in movies that often.
That was a Jack Quaid for me. Like I couldn't put my finger on who Jack Quaid was the whole time, and like the boys, and then it hit me like halfway through the movie. Then I felt better because you're sitting there like, what do I know him from, or what is this from? And there's like every other scene, it's like it has that feeling,
I feel like it's. I think he handled it the right way. I think that's kind of unavoidable. So I don't know. Maybe is it inherently bad to cast a bunch of people with names in movies because you're going to inevitably rack your brain to figure out where you know all them from, or should you do more of a Wes Anderson thing where they all have like semi-significant roles with like important dialogue, even if it's just for a little scene? I don't know exactly which one's better, but I like the way that it was handled in this because, I think, and the same thing goes along with the dates, is it doesn't really matter. And I assume also the, I don't know about the meeting, the security review or the security clearance review essentially that he's having with the council. versus or that and Robert Downey's hearing with the senators. I'm assuming they don't just take place over the course of one day. Like I'm assuming they're taking place over a course of maybe weeks or months. So like an exact date maybe wouldn't be as relevant because they're changing times too frequently. But and then as far as people go, I think I'd say it's fun to have a bunch of people in there. I mean, it's so packed. Every scene is so dense. Uh, I think everybody handles their role really, really well. Somebody whose name rhymes with Barry Boldman.
Which should not be mentioned now because it's way too early to mention that.
It is. We'll get to him later. But point is, I love the cast. I think Rami Malek's best performance ever. Best performance ever.
I would agree, and especially because he doesn't say anything for the first half of his performance.
Dude, but when he does, he kills it.
Oh, he killed it in that scene when he.
Sorry, go ahead.
When he's brought up in front of the senators, Congress people, senators, whatever. When he gives the monologue there, he's fantastic, and I think that is something that Christopher Nolan, has had obviously star-studded cast many times, and many of the people in this movie have been in his previous movies. But everyone kind of gets their chance to shine, even if they're only on screen for a few minutes. So,
I just got something straight piggyback right on top of that. If you're about to transition to something, can I jump on it real quick?
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to piggyback on it so well because it's Remy's and all your guys' point because it's such a razor's edge that you gotta walk on this sort of thing where it is these big name actors or no name actors because no names you're gonna have no other weight from their past, but are they gonna be able to deliver when the big scenes are actually needed? So something like Rami Malek where he dusted, he signed this clipboard slapped out of his hand and that's all we really see him in the first half of the movie, but you're like, you're going to be something bigger later. You're going to have some significance as a character later. Like I knew that was going to happen. So then when he did finally have his speech, I'm like, oh, here it is. Here's what we've been waiting for. So it's like you cast these major actors who can do this in the sub roles. And then when they're 5 minutes of fame, they hit so fucking hard, and I feel like that's the whole cast with this is each one had like some real like good scenes, like these real 5 minutes that hit us hard. And we barely get to see them throughout the rest of the movie, which is great because Robert and Cillian like carry the whole movie, and I mean same with Emily Blunt too. Like she like those three, they're the pinnacles, and then all these other dust into it. So it's a cool balance, and Christopher Nolan or whatever director is there is so responsible to make sure that they have their time to shine, but then they're not too much taking away from the main stars too. So please continue.
I mean, if you meant continue, I never even got to start, so thanks a lot.
Hey, I got cut off in my initial review of this movie because I brought up protagonist and antagonist. I didn't even get my whole first feel on this.
Yeah, because this is just a spoiler review.
Have we started spoilers yet? Wait, is this a spoiler-free section?
Still,
all right.
All the way to the very end.
Yeah, spoiler
the final
section.
Review can be spoilers. That's what it is.
The Japanese lost the war. That's part of the spoiler section. In case you didn't know. Let's talk Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan said in our previous issue 16 of Last Page, talking about Memento, and I mentioned in there how he is one of the stalwarts of the industry now. He is someone that in all of our lifetimes we've seen him go from someone that wasn't making movies and then all of a sudden is one of the biggest directors of all time. And it is one of the few people, and I'd say directors you would count on one hand right now that are still alive, that you will go see their movie you don't need to know anything. You just know it's a Christopher Nolan movie, you're going to go see it. And with Christopher Nolan, there's been times where his movies, the dialogue and the writing has not been up to snuff. And I feel like Tenet was the accumulation of all of the problems of Christopher Nolan movies, where it was just all exposition, not enough character development, and not enough focus on a central story. It's more of the spectacle. But this movie, I feel like does a great job of building Oppenheimer, and you see from his, as it goes on, you see how he is determined on a scientific level to achieve something that he believes can take down the evil empire that is the Nazi regime, the Third Reich. And he becomes, at a certain point, when the morality starts to kind of creep, keeps pushing forward, talking about how we have to, this is something we have to do. We have to drop this bomb. The Japanese won't just surrender without the bomb being dropped. And from the moment the bomb's dropped, and what I really like is there is that moment of Oppenheimer is the most important person throughout this movie. The moment they do the test, the government does not give a flying fuck about him, and he has to struggle to try to stay in the loop of his creation and what it has done or what it is about to do to a bunch of unsuspecting civilians. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, but Remy, Christopher Nolan, what did you see from this movie as far as comparing it to his previous movies? Were there things that were similar that you liked, or were there things that were similar you didn't like? What did you think about just kind of the Nolan-ness of this movie?
I think almost all of the Nolan, it brings out the best part of Nolan for most of the movie. So, you made a comment on it earlier about the music being very loud, a lot of scenes while people are talking. And while he does that in a lot of his movies, I think this is maybe the one movie where it works best, because the whole idea of this being from Oppenheimer's POV is he's constantly battling back this panic, anxiety panic. And so things you have those moments where he's getting stressed and everything's really loud and you can see the background starts to shake. So I feel like for a lot of this movie, it actually fits with his character, whereas maybe that doesn't fit so well in other Nolan projects. So that's why I kind of feel like it works better. The movie looks great. I don't know if there's ever been a Nolan movie that didn't look really good. I think even Tenet is I hate everything about that movie, so I don't even know if the visuals are good for it. But as far as as The Prestige and Batman and Interstellar, the visuals for these movies are really good, and I feel like Nolan still hits home with this movie in that regard. I think he, for the most part, avoids the dialogue pitfalls that he falls into. There's still a couple, and I think it's mostly Matt Damon, who has the moments of just we need scientists. And he just he'll just say those really plainly stupid lines for your average viewer that I don't really think you need, but it's just in every movie. It's not even Nolan, really. Every movie has those really obligatorily obvious lines that just are mostly unnecessary, I feel. And I think this movie does a really good job of avoiding that for the most part. There's a couple, so it's not perfect, but I think it does way better than some of his more recent previous films. Or just his films in general. I would rank this movie in the upper tier of Nolan films. If Interstellar and Batman 3 and Tenet and Inception are middle to bottom tier, I would put this upper top tier. The more I think about it, the more I like this movie. I do need to see it again to confirm that, but I think I'm going to like this movie even more on a second viewing.
Yeah, Jason, your thoughts on Nolan-ness?
The Nolan-ness. It's really funny that I feel like Memento was the least Nolan movie of his library that we just saw. It isn't that dark, that loud noises, a lot of the more style that he has in a lot of his movies now. Memento doesn't feel that as much as Batman.
Ooh, sorry, real quick. Very Memento-esque with the black and white bouncing back and forth timeline.
You are right.
Very Memento.
Yes, I thought that as soon as they did that too, and he's doing his old Memento trick with showing the past as black and white, where that's something that we can easily.
Except in this case,
go ahead.
Future is black and white.
Yeah.
The
It's
future
like
is
it's in
grim.
reverse.
You're right. Yes, it
The
is.
future is black and white and grim.
Also like Memento. Oh man, okay. I'm eating my own words as I spit them out to where this is, but I guess it was more the feel, the style, but you're right, more of his storytelling devices he's used from Memento, which is, that's interesting to go back to some of like his second movie on one of his last ones now. But the sounds is what's such like a cool part of a Nolan thing, and you hit the nail on the head with that, Remy, where it's like, it added to that, I don't know what the emotion he's having when everything is like, if it's anxiety attacks or panic attacks or what it is, where everything's kind of shaking behind him. But a lot of that whole thing is so much of his style, and it added to that anxiety, puts us right to that position. But as far as the music and him going through it in the beginning, where he's almost having these premonitions of atomic, like, fission or fusion, like in his head before it actually happens, it was such a great way to start the movie to get us in that sort of feeling of it. But I was so happy throughout the entire movie as far as the settings and the colors and the feeling is what it was with the sounds is just so Nolan. So like you said, it's up there with the top movies of his career, and so much of his other movies I feel like he was able to use that knowledge in this one, because we're essentially watching a documentary, and for him to make it that exciting, in a movie and have this great storytelling elements, it's hard for anyone to do. So he nailed it out of the park in my opinion, and his style was the perfect way to do such a heavy subject. Holy shit, like when they were talking about the choosing the city in Japan and how candid they are, and the journal laughing about, oh, that's where I vacation, so I don't want to blow up that city. It's just like, I remember the whole audience be like, motherfucker. Like everyone was like upset at that moment, and it's good because we needed that also, to not try to paint this as some glory moment for America, kind of thing, to actually bring it down. Like, this is some heavy shit we're talking about. We need to make sure that we're not glorifying America and stuff. So they had, to have that sort of balance and not to paint us as the heroes, which Americans love to do. I feel like he walked that line perfectly. So touchy subject, and he nailed it.
I love Christopher Nolan movies. I love all the Batman movies, Interstellar. Man of Steel's not my favorite,
But he's just a
but
producer on that.
but I know, but he's great. He makes amazing movies. Like this one was, like some of this stuff really happened. Not everything. I thought I knew the story of like Oppenheimer and how everything went about, but I really appreciate any kind of historical attempt at storytelling that reveals how corrupt our government is, even when it comes to white people. Like, the government is corrupt. And there's your proof right there. Like, they screw everyone over. If they want to screw you over, they will find a way to do it. And let that sink in. Just, our government is so corrupt. It's still corrupt. But even then, it's just awful. Like, the way they had everything stacked against him, and his lawyer was just like, where are you getting this from? Can I get a copy of that? Like, oh no, it's classified. It's like, oh my, that, like, it was infuriating me, because I was like, the government is corrupt and we all know this, and like, look, here's the proof. Like, we need to do something. Let's storm the Capitol. I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's January 7th.
And what hits even harder is it's not fiction. This is really what happened.
Yeah.
Instead of making this shit up. Yeah. One thing I think we missed, though, we should have watched Dunkirk before this, because it's like, that's World War II, that's Christopher Nolan, that's like, we should have reviewed that movie and like focused more on how he did, because I think Dunkirk is the least movie that I've seen of his. I think I saw it once. I can't remember if I saw the whole thing, actually. I even got through it, but you guys have all seen Dunkirk, right? Yeah. It's similar to this movie. Would you compare it?
I only watched it because Harry Styles was in it.
I would not. I would say the opposite. This movie is just about completely. Obviously, the big spectacle of this is the biggest natural explosion ever seen on film. There's no CGI. The big pitch of this movie was that You're gonna get your money's worth. Don't, even though there's a lot of talking, you're gonna get your money's. That was like a big part of this movie. But this movie is extremely heavy in dialogue, whereas Dunkirk is the opposite. Dunkirk is completely almost absent of dialogue for most of it. With Cillian Murphy being the scarred, the PTSD soldier.
That's right. That's right. He is that in there. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the I guess we can get into let's see, do we want to do cast or theme? I guess we'll go cast since we can't wait to talk about the cast. So everyone you can pick an actor, pick whoever you want. We'll just kind of fumble about talking about the rando actors that show up in
I have
this
so
movie.
many that I want to talk about.
I know, but we all want to talk about them, so no one should steal the spotlight. I don't want to be like, oh, the 20 actors, and then you guys can't. So we'll all just kind of take one at a time. So Rembo, if you have an actor you want to throw his, and I'll say his because I mean there's Florence Pugh and there's what's her face? God damn it.
Boobs.
I know. I didn't say
Did you say Florence boobs?
No, I just said boobs.
I thought you said Florence boobs.
That
was
was
Florence
funny,
boobs.
I should have.
This star was full of Florence boobs. It was incredible. I will say, in a day,
Florence boobs.
they were there.
Respectfully, great actress, so great,
very believable,
so much
naked.
better than she was in Black Widow.
She's very, very believable naked. I will say, so yeah, sex in a Nolan movie, something we almost never see because all his movies are PG-13. So it was really jarring, or not jarring because I know there was like sex and nudity in this, but like seeing her like naked, and I don't know if that's her because nowadays with movies and special effects, you never know if that's actually her.
Florence Pugh is very comfortable with her body. She went to like a fashion show with a sheer, like you can Google it. She had on a sheer like dress with her nipples just out.
Sick.
Like she's comfortable with her body. So I believe 100% that was actually her naked.
Nice.
When I got back from this, I was telling my wife, I was like, yeah, she is topless a lot of it. And I immediately thought of Emilia Clarke, which is funny that she's in this movie, but in Game of Thrones, where she was super topless the first couple scenes. And then towards the end of the seasons, she already started covering up every single scene because now she's famous. Now she knows like the weight of now, oh, if I'm topless throughout my entire career, I'm just going to be casted at that. So I was almost like, oh, Florence, are you going to go down that route now as the topless? Like,
No,
girl,
Jason,
you know?
no. Listen, this is the problem. We need more nudity in movies. Make movies nude again. We want to encourage actors and actresses to be naked in movies. This should be a thing. We go to movies for violence, sex, the best, most gratuitous things we can watch on the big screen.
And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they're interrogating him and they're asking him about her, and then the camera like pans and he's just completely naked and it's like it's like in front of his wife,
staring her in
it's
the
just
eyes,
like gut wrenching.
Yeah, that was heavy, that scene, and it was so well because that was a woman would be thinking, or anyone in that position would be like, I'm picturing you fucking this woman right now, you know, and then actually being right there in the boardroom, and I was even thinking, is he really naked? Because at one point he was naked while doing the interview, and then she's on top of him. I'm like, did they really like film this scene with them naked and all these other people in suits just having to sit around and act like what's going on, you know?
I'm just imagining the 80-year-old dude in the back of the room is just like, oh, I don't think I was right in that. Can you do it again, Florence? Can you do it again? Yeah. The first time he's seeing boobs like in real life in like 20 years.
Yeah, no, but you're so right. But it's like it almost feels like, oh, hopefully this doesn't hurt her career as being, you know.
No, again, Jason, don't even put that out there. Why would you put that out there? This is the problem. This goes back to Fantastic Four actress.
Jessica Alba.
Jessica Alba was a giant prude when it came to nudity. She would have like in Machete, she's in the shower and they digitally altered, like put a stunt double there and then her face and stuff. So yeah, it's not her in the shower. So like this is the problem. Nudity in not the West, because Europe's different, but in America we somehow shame people for being naked, and it's stupid. people should be willing and able and
But
comfortable.
doesn't she play a stripper in Sin City?
Yeah, but she's like never naked. Like she has quite a few clothes on for a stripper. If I'm being
No, but
honest.
you're so right. This movie is definitely moving that bar where it's like it has a very normal scene of them talking about something very heavy where they're both naked. You know, I mean, Cillian's cross-legged and she's a little bit more exposed, but they're talking about some real stuff, and nudity isn't a fact of it. And I feel like if a real couple was having this real conversation, they wouldn't get clothed and cover up and talk about that. So you're right; it does add a more natural element to those sort of scenes when they do it. So no, I'm not hating on it. I'm just hoping it doesn't typecast her for the future.
It is. I don't think I like that the first time he says, "For now I am become death," is when she's on top of him. She's like, "Say it."
Oh.
Just like, I was like,
No,
what?
yeah.
What? I mean, and then he says it again later when like the bomb's actually going off, and it's like, okay, that makes more sense.
Okay, the way I interpreted that scene was that he was going soft, and she was like, "What the hell?" And then the way to get him hard again was to get him talking about some intellectual stuff. And
That's funny.
That's how she got him into it, because like he was just like tensing up and going soft on her. That's how I interpret
see. Women see so much more into all of our games. You see it fast.
Brian knows a thing or two about a thing or two.
We can't fool them, guys.
Anyway,
that's really funny.
That's funny.
But no, let's talk about other actors.
Well, real quick, yeah. So Rami, I agree. That scene was a little jarring. Even though I do love that observation, I do think that is excellent. But it was like a little that, and then there was a line of dialogue at the end of this movie that I was like, "Don't say it," and he said it, and I was like, "Fuck." We'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, go ahead. Next character, Jason, character that you want to bring up.
Gosh, I wrote down so many. We talked about this one. We talked about this one. Let's
bring up the other actress.
Let's
dude.
do
the only other actress in this movie who actually nails a role that's totally out of her normal sphere.
Yes, being an American. She's
not. That's not what I was getting at. I wasn't just getting at her being American. I
An
don't care about her
alcoholic,
accent. I care about the fact that she plays a shithole mom.
Oh, Emily Blunt.
She plays a horrible drunken mother that gives up her kid, that like is basically a shitty wife, but then like is kind of okay, like stays with him even after he cheats on her. I just felt like it was a role that I've never seen Emily Blunt come even close to before. So I feel like
she plays a drunken girl on the train.
Well, I haven't seen that movie, so
okay.
But no, you're right. I did write down here that Emily Blunt did so good at not stealing the scenes. You know, she was. I mean, the second to the Oppenheimer, you know, the wife, you know, kind of thing. She was supposed to be this, but then she had such a great thing where she would kind of all of a sudden be the driving force. You know, like, no, go at this interview with more gusto, or don't let these people walk all over you. That she was such the other side to the coin on him, where he would.
Oh my, stop! Just stop,
Robert,
Jason.
Stop being a pussy.
But yeah,
That's
no,
basically her character in this movie is Robert. Stop being a pussy.
Yeah, I mean, shit like that. It was good. Like, I mean, it was so different from her, but it was what he needed so much because he was such a laid back kind of. I'm not going to fight for my. I mean, certain points where he did, but he needed that kind of push from her. So yeah, Emily Blunt did a fantastic job, and even while aging too, like she did a great like young actress, but then at the end she was this great like older actress where didn't shake the senator's hand at the very end, and there's like very many like pivotal points that she was just such a strong female actor in this, and yeah, she definitely held her own with so many other like strong male leads in this.
Do you have a nominated actor, Ms. Bryant?
Okay, so one of the judges when Robert Downey Jr. is on trial, his name's Harry Groener, and he's actually in season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He plays the mayor. And when I saw him I got so excited, and I was like, because we're watching Buffy right now, and we're on season 3. And I was like, oh my God, he's from Buffy. He plays the mayor. And then, like, when I said that, it, like, clicked for Maverick because he, like, recognized his face. And he was just, like, laughing at me because I got so stupidly excited over seeing this old white guy in a movie. I was also surprised to see Josh Peck I was like, Josh Peck is randomly.
Josh Peck is who?
He was the one that was gonna push the button, the red button, when he was telling him like
Maybe
if
a
it
picture
if
reference.
it gets to a like Drake and Josh, that show, it's like a kid's show.
Yeah, Drake
Anyway,
and Josh. Come on. But Drake is like Drake Bell.
Right, that's the guy that took the girl to the concert.
Yeah.
I know my
yeah,
pop culture.
but not him, the other guy.
Oh, no, not that guy. The other guy.
Josh Peck isn't even the best Josh in this movie by a landslide.
Yeah,
Shout out to the great, underutilized Josh Hartnett for being in this movie.
I love
to
him.
see that guy. I have no idea where he's been, but I'm really happy to see
That's
him.
the guy that I could not figure out. I was like,
oh, no, I knew that immediately. I knew that face immediately.
It wasn't until he was in the hallway and he's looking at Oppenheimer and the guy you mentioned earlier, and he like looks at him. He's like, "Don't come over here."
Oh yeah.
And he like walks away. When he had the gleam in his eye, I saw that Josh Hartnett patented glisten in the eye, the like same look that like but before he kills someone in Sin City. Yeah, it was really cool. He really because he disappeared for a long time because he just like gave up on acting for like 10 years.
Oh, is that what happened?
And then he slowly has come back, and I feel like this movie is going to put him right back into the fray because he was really excellent in the scenes he was with acting opposite Cillian Murphy.
I mean, and it shows the diversity too. It's like you definitely would have typecast him as just some dumb, just random white male actor guy, but he actually pulls off the scientist thing and holds his own against all these other actors. And he was one that I saw and I'm like, oh, is he gonna be able to pull this off? And then by the end of it, you're like, good job, dude. Yeah, we're able to pull off that character. And that was like I said with Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid is the same thing, Boys main star, which, I mean, love or hate him in The Boys, I think he is probably like the least favorite character with there because he's just kind of a whiny kind of
yeah.
And none of that kind of transferred into this. He really like held his own. So it's so good when you get kind of like a little nervous about some of these actors bringing in previous roles, and then when they don't, you're like, good, you're able to kind of stand on your own. And that was with Dane Dehan. Valerian is what I know him from, which is a horrible movie, but he was the lead star in Valerian. Chronicle, a movie like when I was not a kid, but I remember that being such an underutilized movie. Which, guys, I feel like
that was a good movie.
We should review that movie. Chronicle is a superhero movie.
Wait, Dane DeHaan was in this movie?
Yeah, he is he's one of the military guys.
Oh, okay.
Are you talking about creepy Harry Osborn?
Yes,
yeah,
amazing.
There's so many people in this movie that even when I know who that is, but I don't know who that is.
Yeah. So that's the more recent role is Harry Osborn, Amazing Spider-Man. But Chronicle, and then Valerian is kind of like what I kind of remember him. But he did like a good job of not being that weird character that he was in other ones, and just being able to like embrace these new roles. So like props to, I guess it's Nolan being able to direct so many of these people to be so different from what they were in other movies. So, man, I feel like we go on for like a whole nother hour on, I like this guy for this and that guy for this.
Yeah.
This guy.
Jason Clarke, just great, just scumbag.
Yeah,
just scummy. What's his name? Roger Robb, who is grilling Oppenheimer in all the black and white scenes.
Oh, he's the guy, the prosecutor.
So great at just being douchey to the umph degree every time he speaks, and he takes such joy in like picking apart Oppenheimer. And anytime someone says something bad about him, he gets excited.
Except for Emily Blunt.
There should have been a scene of him like jerking off after the meeting, being like, yes, because he just enjoyed being a fucking asshole this whole movie.
Except for Emily Blunt, she stood her own against him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he is. He actually, dude. Something about Jason Clarke is always. I didn't think about it till this movie. Something about his face reminds me of. I'm gonna butcher his name again. Quentin Tarantino's guy, Michael Madsen. Something about them. I think they could play brothers. I think they could play brothers in a movie.
For sure.
But we cannot go any further without talking about. Even though it's literally like 30 seconds long. Gary Oldman as Truman. Oh my God. 100% did not realize it was him until after the fact. Like the way he comes in, because I didn't know Gary Oldman was in this movie.
Same.
I didn't know. And so I see him like come in and I was like, who the fuck? I was like, they're not going to get someone random to play this role. Who? And then I was just literally, I don't even know what happened for 5 minutes after that scene because I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, who the fuck was that? and I was like, oh, fucking Nolan guy, Gary Oldman. Oh my god, amazing.
Did you know immediately? Because I knew immediately.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Knew immediately.
I didn't know he was in the movie.
I love
Same-
Gary Oldman.
same thing.
He's such a chameleon.
He is, dude. He just blends into the roles.
Mhm.
He like, dude, just take the Gary Oldman from this to Commissioner Gordon to
The Fifth Element.
Oh, I was gonna say True Romance.
Best hairstyle of all
I
time
mean-
in Fifth Element with the plastic thing around his head.
Yes. Like dude, Gary Oldman is so.
Winston Churchill just played
Yeah.
Winston Churchill
Yeah,
a couple years
right.
ago, and so yeah, the guy is
Sirius Black.
Oh, serious,
serious black.
Dude, it's such a what a resume. What a
Don't
resume.
let that crybaby back in here.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
so offended.
I
He's so offended.
Like that.
from the limited knowledge of World War II that I have, that is like a big thing of that. Harriet Truman basically thought that Oppenheimer was a big pussy, and so I did love that they were able to convey all that in that very tiny window.
Yeah.
That moment when he pulls his handkerchief out and he's
Blood on your
like
hand.
doing all this.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like it was
Yeah.
it was rude.
Yeah.
I love
You know.
I love that
It's not
he,
about you.
I just love that in that scene he basically is calling Oppenheimer pretentious for thinking it's all about you when he like in the same breath is just like they're gonna blame me.
It's all
It's all about me monster. Like it's just it's so great. It's so great.
is. It really is.
Kenneth Branagh. I love Kenneth Branagh. Like him showing up. He was in Dunkirk also.
Also in
Um,
Harry Potter.
Also in Harry Potter. There was people from Billions, the show Billions. There was Harry Potter. There was a lot of Nolan people. There was it was like the Avengers of different groups.
Yeah.
There was no Game of Thrones people. I don't
Oh
think.
yeah. Good call.
But there was like a lot of there was like DC, Marvel. I mean, you have all these different groups that were kind of in this movie. Wait, go back. That's the one guy that I was like, what fucking movie is that guy in? Jefferson Hall, the dude that plays the communist.
He's in Tenet.
So
Halloween, Star
Nolan
Wars,
constantly
Sherlock.
uses actors from his other movies, so it's like you feel like okay, yeah, I can link at that. But I want to talk about a couple that aren't in his movies and aren't actually famous actors. It was Benny Safdie, Safdie. He played like the almost rival to Oppenheimer during the time. I think he was Russian or something like that, but he constantly was questioning Oppenheimer a lot of times. He wore the
Oppenheimer. I'm not gonna let you get away with this, Jason. You're doing this on purpose. It's Oppenheimer. It's Oppenheimer. If it was Oppenheimer, it would be Open. You know, like open. If it's Oppen, it's Oppen.
Thank you.
Damn it,
Thank you
Jason.
for-
It's Oppenheimer.
I feel like you should know by now that the stuff you correct me on goes one in ear and then out the other, and I continue saying the wrong name over and over and over
And
again.
that's why I'm here, Jason. I'm here to remind you that it's Oppenheimer.
something like-
And they
You
did.
can bleep out what I say and then like actually put the right stuff over top of it afterwards because
Or you could just get it right the first time.
once it's wedged into my mind, it will not release. It is always the Oppenheimer. Yeah, but I think
I just don't understand why people say Oppenheimer. In the movie, they address it at the very end of the movie, but really, it's Oppen. It drives me crazy. It's what are we gonna go Bobby? When we see Bobby, we'll talk about Bobby.
can I?
Jason, we all know that you're down with the OPP just like the rest of us.
As you know me, yeah. But yes, this Benny guy was awesome. But then another one that I really wanted to talk about was Casey Affleck. Because he was the Boris Pash, and that was such a cool scene where this was the general or colonel or someone high in the military that accidentally confesses to and like throws his friend under the bus, which was such a cool part of that scene where you don't see the guy's face for a while, so you're like actually like, ooh, who's this actor gonna be? You know, it was one of those things because now we've seen so many A-list actors already. It's like, are they gonna drop another big one in our laps? And he wasn't as big as like, oh, you kind of see it was him, but then you like how he pulls off this kind of like very bad guyish kind of interviewing, like trying to pull the information out of Oppenheimer as he's delivering. But yeah, Casey Affleck, another like cool addition to the team of great actors on this one.
The only guy that they really go for like trying to make him look like the guy is Einstein. I don't even know the actor that plays Einstein. My apologies, but just got out of the movie, so not totally researched up. But that's like the guy that they really try to just be like, that's
Conti.
Einstein.
Tom Conti.
Tom. Name's familiar, but I can't place him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they go with him. He shows up 3 times in this movie, really, and they kind of go back in time to go to his sequences. He chimes in. He doesn't really, to me, like the ending of this movie, and I guess this is where we'll talk about just kind of like you said earlier, sadness is the prevailing feeling when you exit this movie. Or when the credits rolled, we were both kind of just staring at the screen. I mean, it was really. And that's where the second half of the movie, to me, really just took over. Is that there's the bomb, but then there is the assassination of the character of Oppenheimer, where the government's just trying to bring him down, and that scene where they keep going back to with Einstein, and when he tells Einstein, and I'm going to butcher this, but and he says like, when we talked about, creating something that destroyed the world, like, when you talk about like the possibility of us destroying the world, like I think we just did, and it just ends like it might be the best like just cut ending of a Nolan movie. I mean, even better than Prestige. I mean, it was really just that moment really just brings everything to a head instantly. Ms. Bryant.
I think so. The scene where he's like in his chemistry class or whatever, and he poisons his teacher's apple with the potassium cyanide, and then goes back to his room, goes to sleep, and then wakes up in the morning and realizes, holy crap, what did I just do? And he just like races over there and like snatches the apple and throws it away. When it comes to the bomb, it's like it's the poison apple that he can't take back. It was too late. Like,
we had the same amount of time to think about this movie, which is about 10 minutes. And somehow Monica has figured out every deep theme in the movie. And I'm like, I like the actor I saw in that movie. I like that guy when he showed up.
We need more female influence on this show. They think much deeper than we do, I guess. Yeah.
But continue talking. That was a great point.
That was my point. I thought about the apple scene, like when we got to the end of the film. I went back and thought about that whole apple, because I was like, why are they making, like, what? Why would he try to poison his professor? Like, did Oppenheimer poison his professor? But no, like, obviously he did that to make the point of, you make a mistake and you get there in time to fix it, or it's too fucking late and a lot of people are dead. So
deep. That's why she's wearing the green apple T-shirt while we all are wearing black. Yeah, this is segue. She knew. Yeah. Wow, Monica, that's super deep. Good job. I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Rembo.
Oh, good job following up that one. I was like, what are you gonna follow up?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think things that need to be touched on. Just, I went into this movie hoping for more science. I didn't expect a Big Short level breakdown of how the bomb works. I was hoping for that just because, me personally, that would be really cool. If you can explain how the fuck you guys made an atom bomb to a regular person, that would be really cool. It would, but the movie's not about that. It very much, I guess I just went into it with the idea that, like, I thought it, by the end of the movie, it's like, this is really not that much about the bomb as it is just Oppenheimer and his personal journey. And that's why I think this movie's so good, because it's not so much like, I mean, they just briefly mention, like, oh yeah, Hitler died. The war in Germany's over. Like, they don't have some big, like, you see the celebrations, you see any scenes. That's another cool thing that I really like. They don't show one scene in Germany, not one scene in Japan, nothing. It's all just from Oppenheimer's world. And I think that's a great way to take it, where it's just the journey of this man. And that's why I think it's so good, because I think it's just a perfect biopic. Like, biopic? Okay.
biopic.
All right. It was fine when you were correcting Jason. I will not stand for this.
I will not stand for that.
I'm gonna have an aneurysm of all these little things.
Biopic. It's a perfect biopic because it really, truly, solely is just about this one freaking character, and then RDJ and his effect on him. But I think just I think personally the tempo for this movie, awesome. I sat through this movie in a nice air conditioned theater. It was actually air conditioned, which seems to be rarity in the theaters these days. But it was, I thought, for a 3-hour movie, it nailed the pacing. I think the telling of this man's story, the tragedy that is, I think it balances everything so well. And there's not a lot of negative things to say about this movie, honestly. Is how I feel right now. Maybe that changes when I rewatch it, but for right now, I think this is a very, very, very good movie.
I mean, the information dump was good. I mean, it was a lot of things like, yeah, you're right, Remy. It's like you're almost looking for more of like the science of it. But I'm so glad it wasn't the Enola Gay dropping of the bomb, Japan, and cheering in the streets. People like it was such. I mean, we got the cheering moments, but it was when the actual testing of the bomb was correct. You know, it was like that was the culmination of this movie. It wasn't about how the actual dropping of the bomb finishing the war. It was finishing the science project of incredible magnitude of great minds, this brain trust coming together. They were so happy, you know, it did its end. But it's so bittersweet because I think the scene says it perfectly when Cillian's character is having Oppenheimer's giving this like congratulatory speech to everyone, you know, and it's like extreme anxiety when he's walking. It's a one with like the wooden stands and he's kind of walking into it and everyone's like drinking, making out underneath the stands and cheering and everything like that, and he's walking into this kind of congratulating everyone where he already feels the weight of what's this is about to be used for. And then, but he's also very happy with what they accomplished. This is the goal, but now he knows what it's actually going to be used for. So it's just such a great, you know, showing of what those conflict of emotions would be of anyone who just did this. It's like, yeah, we did it. We created this marvel of technology, but now what it's going to be used for. And what's the great part of this movie too is he constantly is telling everyone around him that the fact that we created this doesn't mean we get to choose what is done with this. And I think that's what so many people, like if anyone who has a creative mind, who works for a company who and creates something and now thinks that they have the rights to it. It's like, no, you were under this man's paycheck and this man's thumb of create this product. And then once it's created, it's like, no, you no longer get to have anything to do with this. And even when it's the extent of the atomic bomb or the hydrogen bomb and the level of wiping out hundreds of thousands of people, you don't get a say in this, even if you were the person to do this. So I think that message was so hit home so many points over and over again where it would have been such a touchy subject where we could have come out of this movie being like, America is, you know, great in America and red hat wearing MAGA, you know, it could have even gone that route of this is some patriotic movie, but it was so good at filling in those gaps of history that we so like to kind of dust over. So I think this will go down as far as the greatest movies of all time. Maybe even be shown in like schools as like a history element of the real history of how this was done. But I mean, I think we started off this whole thing of saying that we're going to talk extremely positive about this movie the whole time. And actually I would like to now like try to find something negative. Like what was something that was bad about this, you know, like what was like, I'm going to highly recommend this to anyone, but I wouldn't even say a negative thing is the time frame of this or the darkness or the loudness or any of these elements where you sometimes like, oh, that was kind of like, no, this is part of this whole encompassing story element of this movie. So I would challenge you to say something negative about this.
Well, I will. Now that you challenge me,
please do.
I can't turn down a challenge. Remy mentioned earlier. This actually isn't my negative. I'll get to my negative in a second. Remy mentioned earlier the how this felt like, or that Christopher Nolan movies. Would you say that they're well lit or what have you?
They look really. They just look nice. They look good.
This movie, because coincidentally, I just rewatched because I hadn't seen it in a very long time. Before seeing this movie, I watched the behind the scenes of The Prestige. And they talked about in The Prestige how they use, for the most part, natural lighting and that when they're filming a scene, they set up a scene, they set up the room to be lit kind of with natural light, and that's it. And they just film from different angles. They don't just set up all the lights in one area, film it from here, and then change it. And this movie was very much in that same vein, almost to a certain, I feel like sometimes to a detriment, where some of the characters didn't look great. Like a lot of times the communist parties that they were having, it was like kind of tough to like focus in on certain characters because everything kind of had the same shade. But I think it's still a very brave choice to do that. And you're making a 3-hour movie and you're trying to film these scenes. And I feel like it was probably, this movie already took a long time to make it. It was like close to 2+ months of filming. So I understand that. The negative thing that it was straight out of The Dark Knight Rises, and it drove me fucking crazy because it was so unnecessary. Where Robert Downey Jr. gives his Oscar speech of like he's unraveling. Robert Downey Jr. his career is getting torpedoed as he tried to torpedo Oppenheimer, and he's giving his speech, and he's like, there was 3 guys that voted against you. He's like, who are they? He's like, well, there was one senator from Massachusetts, and I was like, don't say it, don't say it, please don't say it. Who was it? John F. Kennedy. Yeah. It was like, why? Like, don't, please, like, I'm I felt like he went full retard there.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Jesus. Lord in 2023 heaven.
Anyway, again, that was just, it was straight out of The Dark Knight Rises when he's like, oh, they left us something for you. Maybe check my other name. Robin is like, oh, man, I don't need you to spell it out, to Easter egg drop John F. Kennedy at the end of this movie. Anyway, that was my
well, okay, that's gonna be one negative. I don't agree with it whatsoever. Yes. Anyone else?
But the movie, yeah, the first half, I need to see it again because the first half did for me take. That was my problem. It just took a while to get going for me. Again, second watch might be completely different. First time, that was my complaint. Ms. Bryant, your let's go final thoughts and ratings. Your final thoughts of the movie and your rating.
Final thoughts is that I think it's definitely one of those films that you need to watch a second time because I feel like there's a lot more for me to absorb. Some of the conversations and scenes were happening so fast that I felt like I was constantly trying to keep up with what was happening. So a second viewing for sure before I can really sink my teeth into what I was seeing. But for a first watch, it did hold my interest. I thought there was some really great performances. I don't have anything negative to say about the film at this point in time. I know some people online are saying that, why don't they just do a film about the victims of all this? And I mean,
come on.
That's a thing.
Give a break.
That people say.
Fireflies.
But, I was about to reference you, Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, there are movies about the victims. This one was specifically about Oppenheimer and, how he did this horrible thing and then they fucking... Can we curse on this show?
Yeah. Fuck no.
Fuck yeah. Curse.
Why not?
But, I mean, they railroad the guy. Like, they just, like Jason was saying, you work for a corporation, they steal all your shit and take credit for it, and they kick you to the curb. Like, that's the American way right there.
The way of the industrial military complex.
Like, that is how things go. You pump into the machine and you don't get any change back. Like, it's just what it is.
I'm sorry.
I give the movie a thumbs up.
Thumbs up's your rating?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of military-industrial complex, I was interested when they said like a weapon of mass destruction. I was like,
Thank you.
Is that the first instance of weapon of
No
mass?
way. No way. That's a
I don't
modern
know.
thing thrown
What
in
was
there.
the weapon of mass destruction before that? Like, was it the
I don't-
crossbow? Was it like, check
They
out this
talk about
weapon of
that,
mass
the-
destruction? It
It was
goes
a
twice as
cannon.
far.
Probably a cannon.
No,
You're like, holy shit, you can blow
They
up
had
some
that
of these
reference
They
on
cannons.
don't
the
say
biggest-
weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
They say like
No, they
No.
literally do say that.
Yeah.
It's literally weapon of mass destruction.
Yes.
But they talk about the
But-
biggest bomb before that was that chemical bomb in that boat. You know, they try to say how many tons of dynamite would that have taken. So they do talk about other bigger explosions before that and try to.
Right.
Ooh.
What have you Googled, Remy?
The term weapons of mass destruction was first used in the London Times in 1937.
37.
Oh, that's later than I would have thought.
So it was during or right before World War One or two. Then
See, I would have thought it would have been the Guy Fawkes blowing up of the when Guy Fawkes tried to blow up the London
the clock,
Bridge?
the clock, big.
Oh,
was it Big Ben or was it the Parliament? Anyway,
Honestly, that might have
didn't
been during
work out.
that time frame right there.
No, because it was earlier than that,
Okay,
I believe. Anyway, getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. Jason, your final thoughts and rating on the movie.
Yeah, I'm going to recommend this movie to anyone. I mean, go out to the theaters with friends and have a good time and have like a Friday night movie. I mean, not so much. I mean, Barbie is definitely going to be that movie for people, which we should have talked about the Barbenheimer kind of thing of this anyways, a little bit more, where I am at the movie theater and there is tons of girls dressed in pink and a ton of guys dressed in black. And I was like, I know exactly what movies that each of you guys are going to, you know, and the fact that this was the third biggest box office weekend of all time, like that right there, like we are now post pandemic, we're in the digital age, the streaming age, and we just had a huge fucking box office weekend because it had two totally different movies that people were going to see both of them in one movie. I mean, or one weekend. And I think that's so fucking cool. Like that, like how we kind of got back to this, the love of the movie theaters, where I just had a great experience in the movie theater going to see this, and I could feel that energy there and all these different groups of people. And I don't know if people were going from one movie to the next, but I think that that's something that's we're now basing our careers off of this movie industry, and I think this is great for our show. And like, subscribe, and follow, you know, to keep this this going. But I think that was just such a cool part of this whole weekend and this whole movie kind of thing. That
my favorite Barbenheimer meme is like there's an explosion poster, and then you've got Cillian Murphy like looking all tough, and then Margot Robbie's like sitting on his shoulder in her little Barbie outfit, and that's like my favorite meme.
two sides of the same coin, you know. It's so much, yeah.
Jesus, Jason, we're gonna get paid. Get this man. Get this.
I get
man.
money every time I say that, right?
Insert that meme when I talk
I have some sponsor that you guys don't know. Two sides of the same
Oh.
coin. Brought to you by Jason's Haters.
Your rating is a 2 coins way
Don't
up.
rush me to my rating. I'm so. Don't try to move me along with my my references. Yes,
Okay, Grandpa, time to go to bed.
Sonny. See here, I got my 5 minutes on my soapbox. I'm going to use it. Yeah. But no, I couldn't say. I have said enough great things about this movie. When I go to work tomorrow, I'm going to be telling everyone to go see it. But get ready for a 3-hour endeavor. Go get that hot dog halfway through the movie. That definitely makes it a little easier. But no, 2 thumbs up.
I give this movie right now. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Subject to change half a point in either direction. I can't really tell. But I think it's a 9. But I gotta see it one more time to validate that. Like I said, I really don't think there's that much wrong with the movie. I think if anything, maybe there's just parts that are underwhelming, where it's not like, because it's a 3-hour kind of slower paced endeavor, it's not like every scene feels super impactful. It's just kind of building blocks on building blocks. But by the end of it, it's a beautiful, masterful painting. So it just feels great after all these movies that I've seen in theaters that have been bad to worse. It's like, I mean, Mission Impossible was okay, but like all these other movies that I've seen in theaters recently, where I'm just like, yeah, it feels good to get out of a movie, even though I'm kind of sad, depressy feelings. It still feels good to get out of it and being like, oh, that was a really good movie.
Yeah,
like,
well said. Well said.
I am very grateful to have gone into this movie being like, I hope this is as good as everybody says it was, and then walking out of it and being like, yep, that was as good as everybody said it was. So, I don't think we really actually mentioned Matt Damon, so just for the sake of props, great job, Matt Damon. I love him in this movie. I think he does a great job as basically the third lead. Like, it's him and Emily Blunt are kind of right there, but I think it's like basically, he's the third guy, and I kind of a typical Matt Damon performance, but by the book, great job. Has some good funny lines. Because it's the most important fucking thing to happen in the history of the world. Like,
he yells at that scientist and then storms off afterward.
Yeah. 8.5 out of 10. Go see this movie. I think everybody should see this movie.
Typically, my ratings, if I love a movie, I'll typically give it like an 8. An 8 is like my out of theater experience because it needs to sit with you. You need to see it again to know if you truly love it. I can't fall in love on just the first glance. It takes, some time together to really nurture that love. So typically, it's like right out of the theater, I'm like, is it 8? This movie's like, instantly it's like, is this movie like a 7 enjoyment? But the more just talking about it now, the more you think about it, and then especially the ending of the movie just really kind of overtakes your feelings and thoughts. And so right now I will say the movie 8 out of 10, subject to change. We saw this movie on a standard screen because we couldn't time-wise, we could not get to a 70
You
millimeter.
as well, Jason?
Yeah, I didn't do the XD or the.
You didn't miss out. It was not when I saw it in IMAX and I got out of the movie thinking there was no reason to see this movie in IMAX.
I felt like that going into
Interesting. So yeah, they've been advertising the big 70 millimeter IMAX experience. Those are sold out for like a week unless you want to sit.
I mean, IMAX makes me queasy, so I'm really glad we just saw standard.
But the audio was like very loud to the point where you had to plug your ears.
I was plugging my ears
Yeah.
at certain points.
It is very loud.
I felt my chair shaking at one point, I think. Yeah.
So this, it's great to see Christopher Nolan really step away from the kind of his tendencies, and he's not just becoming a parody of himself. Like he really, and I feel like his script really went for it with trying to do something that he had not done, which is tackle a character piece, surround him with a bunch of other actors that are phenomenal, and do it with a bunch of dialogue, but a story that really makes you question not just the government, but just what it does to people, or what like this experience did to all these different people that were a part of it, the historical ramifications. All of these themes and questions get asked in this movie, and the fact that he wrote it by himself when there have been criticisms about his writing, I think was very admirable, and I'm very excited for whatever he may do next.
Just to mention, it is based on a book. This is it is important.
It's a book written by two people, but he is the lone screenplay adapter.
Damn, put in some time on this thing then.
Disclaimer: what you're about to watch contains mostly spoilers early and often, as you'll see it get quite contentious early on. And that's last pick.
I was waiting too. I was trying to beat him to it. I was trying to get him like, I think he knew we were trying to do that too.
Oh, I early planned that. I was like, how am I going to get to the end?
Dirty dog. You didn't want none of the smoke.
That was fun.
Monica,
That was fun,
you need to do the dual, like your hand goes up as